Once you profile, then you're going to go prospecting for customers just like that profile. One of the hardest things to do is prospect. And as I go around, I ask people who are busy, what are you doing? And I get these ideas. So most of these ideas came from my customers who told me that I could share it. First of all, let's talk about advertising. When you advertise, even if there's nothing in the advertisement about price, it's perceived as price-based. You drive home tonight, look at billboards. Look at the percentage that have something about price on them. It's over 50%. You know, more saving, more doing, discount, sale, whatever it is. So if you advertise, oftentimes, even if you don't intend it, don't talk anything about price, it becomes price-based in the minds of the customer. So you have to be really careful about advertising, and that's a personal prejudice of mine. Home shows. Half the people I talk to hate home shows, half of them love them. I told you I talk a lot about Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin, in spring has 3 home shows back-to-back, a month apart. And I did my Wisconsin trip, and I was up in Madison, and I stopped in a customer that wasn't a regular customer, but I'd friendly and called them all the time. And I said, hey, the home show was 2 weeks ago, how'd you do? And he said, oh, it was below 0, and the Packers had a playoff game that weekend, and it was absolute, nobody came, it was terrible. Oh, that's too bad. Half hour later, at one of my regular customers, and I walked in, and his mother-in-law was behind the desk, and she's, oh, Brian's in the back. He's busy. So I walked, and Brian's lifting slabs off a truck, and among other things, I said, Brian, how'd the home show go 2 weeks ago? He said, oh, best home show I ever had. He said, I already got 4 sales out of it, and I got 2 referrals, and I got 12 more leads, and I don't know how I'm ever going to follow up on it. Same show. I said, well, Brian, what'd you do? I heard it was terrible. He said, you know what? It wasn't real well attended. But the people were there. If they came out in below 0 weather, there was a reason they were there. And if they were there for a countertop, I was going to give them. He said, I walked down the aisle, I passed out brochures, I greeted people, I was selling all the time. So home shows will work, but you can't sit down and hope somebody's going to come up and ask you to sell them a countertop. You have to be selling all the time. Okay. You can also be the lowest priced guy in town. Just lower your price and advertise your $24 a square foot granite. Now there's 2 advantages to doing that. The first is you don't need many customers. Well, first of all, it's easy because all you got to do is lower your price, right? But second thing is you don't need many customers because you're not going to be in business long, so I don't recommend you do that one. Then you have to create a product that not only doesn't get complaints, but the customer is so delighted that they want to tell all their friends and relatives about you. So going back to fine-tune your production, that's part of your prospecting. When you're done with a countertop, how many of you guys leave maintenance instructions? Okay. Do you leave it, have your guys leave it on the countertop or something when you leave?
Go over it with the customer, and then I got like a little thing with our company logo on it with maintenance things and the bottle cleaner with our name on it.
Okay, good. That's great. I would suggest that if you wait, because they've got so many things going on, the chance of that maintenance instructions being lost somewhere, you know, in the first couple of weeks there, as they cleaning up and moving everything and moving all their cereal boxes and things, I would suggest that you wait 3 weeks. And if you don't personally do the installation, you call them up and say, hey, hi, I'd just like to stop by and see the installation, make sure my guys did a good job. Do you mind if I stop in? And I've got some maintenance instructions I'd like to give you. If you're doing it, you're telling like you do. But I like to laminate it. I mean, we have this. You probably all have one. If you don't have one, I'd be happy to email you one if you give me your card. Now, the key to this is not only is that, but you know, if somebody comes in and they want it, now they can rip off and give out your card. So, and the cards are still there. So I would suggest you do it a couple weeks later. Now, I also suggest when you make that appointment, say, you know what, one of my vendors or the home builders, so somebody's having a kitchen of the month contest. I'd like to come and enter your kitchen. Can I take pictures of your kitchen? Now, when you go there, first of all, they're going to be thrilled that you think their kitchen's good enough to be entered in a contest. So you've made them feel better about the process. Okay? The second thing is, when you get there to take your pictures, it's liable to be a little cleaner than it would be if you don't call ahead. Take with you a release form saying, you know, we're taking these pictures, we can use them for advertising in the contest, and there's all over the internet these release forms. But if you take with your release form and get them to sign it, now you have the right to use it in advertising in other places. Okay? When you get back to the office, email them the pictures. Say, these pictures turned out great, we're thrilled. Why don't you post them on Facebook or your other social media? Everybody, especially the 20-somethings, they can't help it. They got to put it on Facebook. If they have the digital copies of the pictures, though, it's going on Facebook. That helps you. Particularly helpful is Angie's List. And if you don't know about Angie's List, find out about Angie's List. I have customers who swear all their business comes off of referrals on Angie's List. Okay? You may have to invest $25 to get your superstar customers to become members of Angie's List to recommend you, but that is particularly helpful. Okay, another thing you can do is direct mail has about a 2% return. It's terrible, it's awful. But I have a customer who has a professional picture of one of the kitchens he's done. He puts it on a postcard, and the postcard message on the postcard is, "We just completed a new kitchen in your neighborhood. Would you like to see the pictures?" And he swears that "would you like to see the pictures" is a hook to get much more higher percentage return rate. Now, if you're not like my lady who hates cold calls, there's no reason you can't go door to door and knock on doors with your literature and say, "Hey, we just finished the kitchen. Would you like to see the pictures?" You can do cold calls. I mean, the phone calls are a little more problematic with all the no-call lists and all the things in the caller ID. There's a lot of frustration in that, but there's no reason you can't go knock on doors. When you go to measure, to template a kitchen, template all the tops in the house. Do the bathroom. You don't have to template, just measure them so that you can quote them later. So do the top and the bar and even windowsills. If you're good at doing windowsills and you can show pictures of a windowsill, kind of measure the front window in their living room. Measure every other possible opportunity in the house. You can either then, when you send them the final quote, you can include it in this project, or 6 months later, you have a follow-up, you have a reason to call and say, "Hey, we found your measurements of your bathrooms in the file, and are you ready to do that project yet?" Gives you a way to come back.